Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Susan Marinoff-Zausner. I'm the president of the Intrepid Museum, and on behalf of our co-chairman, our trustees, and my colleagues, I welcome you here today to commemorate Veterans Day. This is clearly one of the most important days for the museum and for our country. We annually set aside today to pay tribute to those who have served our nation in uniform and to remind them that their commitment, their sacrifice, and their will to protect our freedom is never taken for granted. We know that this is a fitting and meaningful place to hold this ceremony. This proud vessel on which we stand today served as home to 50,000 crew members over its 31 years of service. And there is nothing more inspiring to us at the Intrepid Museum than our own heroes, the men who served aboard this great ship. And we have several here. I ask you all, our former crew members of the USS Intrepid, please stand, please be recognized, and please remain standing. May I ask all military personnel and veterans, please stand if you're able and be recognized. Thank you so very much. I am pleased to welcome some very special guests joining us on stage today. Both co-chairmen of the Intrepid Museum are here with us, Ken Fisher and Bruce Mosler. Commissioner of the New York City Department of Veteran Services, Lieutenant Colonel James Hendon. Commander, Navy Region Mid-Atlantic, Rear Admiral Carl Lottie. And we are also honored to welcome officers and crew from the Navy's newest Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, the USS Basilone, commissioned next door to us last week. We'd also like to thank and recognize our great friends at Bank of America. Bank of America allows our veterans to come in free of charge to the museum. Their generosity allows this every single day of the year, and we are truly grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please rise once again for a performance of our national anthem by Marine Corps Sergeant Shelby Peterson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Shelby, thank you so much. That was beautiful, and I ask you all to please be seated. It is now an absolute pleasure to introduce an individual who wears many hats and wears them all quite well. He serves as chairman of Fisher House Foundation, an organization best known for a network of comfort homes where military and veterans families can stay at no cost while a loved one is receiving medical treatment. Fisher House now has homes in 99 locations, serving 500,000 families and saving veterans and their families more than $610 million in lodging and travel expenses to date. And if that were not enough, the 100th house will be opening in spring of 2025. His family salvaged Intrepid from the scrapyard. He is personally responsible for game-changing support for our service members and their families. He's the co-managing partner of Fisher Brothers and co-chairman of the Intrepid Museum, Mr. Ken Fisher.
Good afternoon. The ship we are on today, the aircraft carrier Intrepid, was commissioned in 1943. It was a technological marvel that once served World War II, the Cold War, did 3 tours in Vietnam, and the space race. After being decommissioned in 1974, my uncle Zachary Fisher led the initiative to salvage this great ship from the scrapyards and turn it into a museum to honor those who served. It is now a National Historic Landmark and functions as the centerpiece of the Intrepid Museum, a renowned and one-of-a-kind institution. The profound stories and memories of those who served aboard this ship and all who served our nation are all vital. They serve as an invaluable teaching tools, a springboard for us to educate and inspire future generations, and they have real and tremendous impact. Each year, the program our team conducts on this great ship we call Intrepid reached more than 55,000 school children, the majority of whom are underserved, teaching education at the intersection of history and innovation. We make sure to adapt our programming to provide sensory-sensitive delivery for individuals with autism and cognitive disabilities, and we conduct accessible programming for those who are deaf and the hard of hearing, the blind and visually impaired, and for those living with dementia, as well as their caregivers. And in order to help break down the barriers that make the museum accessible to all, we offer numerous opportunities to experience the museum free of charge. Speaking directly to our former crew members and to all veterans and active duty military personnel, we will never lose sight of your needs. Through specific targeted programs, we provide supportive museum experience for returning service members and veterans from all conflicts, particularly those with post-traumatic stress and their families, with the aim of building a community and easing the transition back home. The museum is and always will be accessible to all veterans, regardless of distance, finances, or abilities. You have our promise on that. And we are committed to telling these important stories in perpetuity, so future generations will always know of your bravery, your perseverance, and your ingenuity. We continue to work strategically and diligently to remain relevant and vital for the years to come. And our team's efforts to open more and more of the ship continue. We are currently embarking on restoring sickbay, the ship's medical facility, its barbershop, which I could use right now, and the post office. And very soon we will make areas like the engine room and the boiler room accessible virtually through state-of-the-art technologies, giving us the opportunity to share a multitude of stories that were never told. As I'm fond of saying, this ship may be stationary, but the Intrepid Museum is always moving forward. And we will continue to tell your stories and represent your legacy forever. Thank you, and may God bless you, and happy Veterans Day to all of you.
Thank you so much, Ken. It is now my pleasure to introduce a great Intrepid leader as well. He is chairman of global brokerage for Cushman & Wakefield, and he helped to launch, and he serves as chairman of Cushman & Wakefield's own military and veterans program, currently a top 5 veterans program in the country, which was well written up this past week. Congratulations. He is the Chairman Emeritus of the Iraq-Afghanistan Veterans of America, Chairman Emeritus for Business Executives for National Security, and has served on the Defense Business Board, among other government appointments. Please welcome Intrepid Museum Co-Chairman, Mr. Bruce Mosler.
Good afternoon. Can't hear you. Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for your very kind introduction. Thank you, Kenny, for what you and your family do, not just today, but every day on behalf of our veterans. Admiral Lati, Commissioner Hendon, intrepid former crew members, all veterans, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to join you again for the Intrepid Museum's recognition of this special day, a day our nation sets aside to honor those who have served in her defense. This is a noble tradition, and dare I say, an important one. Often throughout its history, our country has faced serious threats to its citizens and its security, and the men and the women of the armed forces have always, without fail, stepped forward to guarantee our safety. And more than that, they have often protected the safety and the security of our friends and allies as well, as in 1917 and 1944 and 1951 and 1991. And they are certain, absolutely certain, to do so again. Today, our armed forces total about 2 million, including our reservists. That is only about half of 1% of our nation's population. This tiny fraction of Americans and their families bear a great burden for us all. It is therefore fitting that we honor their service today, but I would say more than just today, every day. We owe a debt of gratitude to those that have served this nation and put their country first. Throughout our history, we have turned to our men and women in uniform in times of national and international crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, our world is certainly in the midst of numerous crises today. Renewed conflict in the Middle East, fighting in Europe on a scale not seen since World War II, and more than 35 ongoing conflicts in Africa alone. Drug cartel violence right at our southern border, and surely new challenges will arise. The state of the world requires American leadership. Make no mistake about it. We do not seek involvement in foreign conflicts, but whether we like it or not, America is the leader of the free world and must lead with strength. As President Truman said, America was not built on fear. America was built on courage. We must be prepared to courageously lead the free world, and we must act when required. Our own safety and security depends on this. It is therefore critical that our armed forces remain the best equipped. I love competing with that. The best prepared and the best trained, and that our nation stands behind them when they are called to fight. Ladies and gentlemen, we must do more than just say thank you for your service, as I alluded to before. We must hire our veterans. Recognizing this, many outstanding firms have come together to hire the best and the brightest, and Commissioner Hendon is doing an extraordinary job in New York and making sure that our veterans have access to the business world and beyond that with health care. But let me be clear, we must hire our veterans not out of charity, but out of respect, because our veterans have the skills, motivation, leadership, and high character that service to country fosters. They are the best of the best. You are the best of the best. Qualities that improve any organization's culture, morale, and bottom line. So in case I'm not being clear enough, hire our veterans. Those who have served our nation, including all the veterans gathered here with us today, and those who serve represent the best of America. I would now like all our veterans, our intrepid crew members, and our active duty to please stand. And now I want to say this to each and every one of you. We have depended on you for almost 250 years, and we will continue to depend on you as long as this nation breathes free. Thank you all for your courage, your service, your sacrifice. This nation owes you a debt of gratitude. God bless you all. God bless America.
Bruce, thank you so very much. And I am now pleased to introduce a great friend of the Intrepid Museum and of all our city's veterans. He has led New York City's Department of Veteran Services since 2019. Previously, he served as director of the NYU Veterans Future Lab, a small business incubator for veterans and their spouses. Prior to that, he spent 7 years in the U.S. Army as an infantry officer deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan and worked as an admissions officer as a drill exercises and coalition affairs directorate of U.S. Southern Command. Ladies and gentlemen, Commissioner James Hendon.
Good afternoon, everybody. More importantly, happy Veterans Day, right? Yeah. Veterans Day is every day, as far as I'm concerned, really. You think about this. Giving honors and salutations to Susan Marinoff-Zalesner, president of the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum. Also want to call out Dave Winters, executive vice president for the museum. Acknowledging the co-chairmen of the Intrepid who are here today, Bruce Mosler and Ken Fisher. I want to acknowledge U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Carl Lottie, Navy Mid-Atlantic Region Commander, our members of the Intrepid crew, U.S. military service members past and present, their caregivers, survivors, their families, and I also got to call out the music, our good friends from the Richmond County Pipes and Drums. And then, what, yeah, did we clap? Yep. And then, Sergeant, what's your name? All right, want to acknowledge Sergeant Peterson from the Marines who just rendered our national anthem so beautifully. Let's give her a round, please. Also acknowledging all of our veteran community supporters, volunteers, and allies. As was mentioned, my name is James Hendon. I serve as Commissioner for the New York City Department of Veteran Services. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you for this 2024 Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum Veterans Day ceremony. When we think of the senses, touch, taste, sight, sound, smell, we think of tactile things. The sensing organs send information to the brain, helps us understand and perceive what we believe to be reality, the material side of it, at least. 5 senses, first referenced in 350 BC by Aristotle, work called On the Soul. The 5 senses address the signals that are sent to your brain. Remember, it's touch, taste, sight, sound, and smell. What about the signals that are sent to your heart and that which emanates from it? I'm speaking to what we feel. Soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, Guardians, all feel a deep sense of passion towards the country. It's like magnetic attraction. They don't just feel it, they act on it. They put their hands up, they take an oath to serve, protect, and defend their fellow Americans. This willingness to fight, kill, and die for others in service of an idea, democracy, it is the purest form of love. It's 100% uncut. It is said that a sign of maturity is when a person sees their parents' flaws yet loves them all the same. This too applies to the service member. Through ups and downs, rights and wrongs, thick and thin, our U.S. military service members, past and present, sacrifice everything to protect the American experiment, even when that experiment does not protect them back. It's not America's natural resources, or her education system, or her technological innovations, or the U.S. economy that has served as the most critical reason we have continued to thrive for 248, going on 249 years. It's much simpler and deeper than that. It is you. It is the military. It is our veterans. Those who wore the uniform, those who currently wear it. It's you and your families who keep you strong and prop you up through all time. You've chosen every day to live this life, to give your all in support of your country through your actions in an MOS in the military and the public, private, and nonprofit spaces as veterans. Through your actions, you retake the oath of enlistment with each blink, with each step, with each breath. And the veterans here all know this. Service did not end when you took the uniform off. That is why we honor you this Veterans Day season. And like I said, Veterans Day is every day. It's every month. It's every year. You live the love that you feel. Now, not just to the veterans, now I want to speak to all who are here, particularly our non-vets. Keep fighting for our community. Remember us through opportunities big and small as you navigate each morning, afternoon, and evening in your life. Through all seasons and ages, please try to help veteran and military families, service members, and their loved ones wherever you can. It could be asking someone if they or a loved one served when you first meet them. It could be telling a member of our tribe, Happy Veterans Day, even and especially on days that are not Veterans Day. It could be leveraging resources, personally and professionally, to support and uplift our community. Doing something where you dedicate your wisdom, your talents, your time. We talk about having a seat at the table. How does the saying go? If you're not at the table, then where are you? You're on the menu. I'm humbled in this job, and I get emotional when people who've never served a day in their lives approach me and they say, James, I can do this for our veteran military families. DVS, we can get you that. We're working with local veteran organizations A, B, and C. There's no rocket science to this. These people saw an opportunity in what appeared before them to help our brothers and sisters and their loved ones. They grinded it out, they hustled, they led with love to empower and resource us. As capable as our veterans, those on active duty, guardsmen and reservists and their families are, we cannot do this alone. We need you. We know why the veteran and military people are here at the Intrepid. You know, to get their roses, it's well-deserved. But for those who have not served in the armed forces, this willingness to help in these small, often unseen and unappreciated ways, it's what binds you. That describes everyone here, up to and including the person in the mirror. You strip all these things aside, the titles, pomp and circumstances, the organizational tarts, the pleasantries. We're all just people trying to help other people. So please, continue to help our veteran and military families advance by making sure that our interests are represented where you are, be it in entrepreneurship, be it at work, at school, in faith centers, in the community, in the government, at home, in any way that you're able. The feedback loop, love, cycled first through the Sentinels and their service, then cycled back through civilians in acts of gratitude. This is the secret sauce that keeps our community together. I'll say it again. Love cycled first through the Sentinels and their service, then cycled back through the civilians in acts of gratitude. This is the secret sauce that keeps our community together. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Love powers our armed forces. Our armed forces power our nation. Our nation powers the world. That is what we celebrate. Thank you to those who served, to those who have served, and those who serve the servants. Ending with two quotes. This is Herbert Hoover. Here men endured that a nation might live. I say again, here men endured that a nation might live. Next one, this is George Washington. When is the time for brave men to exert themselves in the cause of liberty and their country, if this is not? Say it again, when is the time for brave men to exert themselves in the cause of liberty and their country, if this is not? God bless you. God bless the city of New York, and God bless America. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Commissioner, your passion and your actions speak volumes. Thank you for everything that you do, everything that you said today. It is my honor to introduce an exceptional leader and patriot. He assumed command of the Navy's Mid-Atlantic region in July. He is responsible for the Navy's shore installations from North Carolina to ensuring that the fleet, the fighter, and military families have quality support ashore so that the men and women serving our nation can do their jobs anywhere, anytime. Amongst many prestigious roles, he commanded the USS Nebraska, served as the 50th Commanding Officer of the Naval Submarine Base New London, Chief of Staff at Navy Installations Command, and was the 91st Commandant, Naval District, Washington. Prior to his current command, he was the 44th Commander of Forces Japan and Navy Region Japan. He's received numerous awards and accolades, including the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, and Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal. Please join me in welcoming Rear Admiral Carl Latte.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Sorry, good afternoon. Thank you for being here to honor our veterans. To the Intrepid leadership, thank you for what you do. Mr. Fisher, I will not be needing the barbershop as you do. Commissioner, thank you for what you do for the veterans in New York City and really in the entire area. It's just a thrill to be in New York, to feel the presence and to feel the love that the city has for those that have served. And thank you for the wonderful weather which we've had today, which is really truly honoring the veterans also. And I will forgive you for going to West Point. What this museum does is so important, not only in educating the public about our history, but ensuring our history and heritage continues to inspire for generations, both in service and civilians alike. To our distinguished veterans and fellow Americans, it is incredible to be here aboard Intrepid and to walk the decks of such a historic ship that so many sailors and Marines over her service called home. Over the years, her crew earned the title of Fighting Eye because of their undying commitment in the face of all threats. It is also humbling and significant to have many of these former crew members here with us today. I would like to take a minute to recognize RM1 Bob Casara, who served in the Combat Information Center from 1971 to 73. PR3 Al Shoemaker, assigned to HS-11, aboard 71 to 73. Airman Thomas Tren, who served in G Division from 1971 to 1973. AM3 Mark Wolf, who served aboard from 1971 to 1972. MM3 Stu Gelbend, who served in M Division from 1970 to 1972. SF2 Larry Arnold, who served in R Division from 1969 to 1972. A3 Mark Herskowitz, assigned to VA 34 and aboard in 1967. Richard Trogler, assigned to VS 24 and aboard 1962 to 1963. ET3 Gene Austin, who served in OE Division from 1961 to 1964. AIM-3 Mike Hallahan, assigned to HU-2 and aboard 1959 to 1960. Marine Corps Sergeant Aaron Resnick, assigned to VMA 225 and aboard 1958 to 1962. MR2 Mike Hervath, who served aboard in 1952. I would also like to honor TM2 Bill Peters, who served aboard USS Growler from 1970 to 1975 and still maintains the ship today. And YN2 Arthur Gerbiner, who served aboard USS Lorenz during World War II from 1944 to 1946 and volunteers with the museum. Sharing his stories of service with visitors from all over the world, he will be turning 99 in December. I had an opportunity to meet him earlier today, and he said he's ready to come back into the Navy, and I offered him an opportunity to return. Thank you all for being here today. Not present today, but nonetheless quite noteworthy, is the former executive officer, Commander Joseph Radarzi, who served aboard Intrepid from 1964 to 1966 and will celebrate his 100th birthday on November 19th, which is just tremendous. With so many veterans living to be 100, I hope that I get there someday. History is not comprised of dates and discolored photos of battles and ships, long past in some textbook, nor is it encompassed by the names of past leaders mentioned at ceremonies like this. Our history is the foundation of our great nation. It is an unshakable part of who we are as Americans. As we approach 250th birthday of our Navy, Marine Corps, and the nation, we must remember to carry our history and her lessons forward. Our country has always been a maritime nation. It has a long history of superiority at sea and ironclad protection of freedom of navigation. Since the birth of our nation, we have stepped toe-to-toe and emerged victorious against the formidable Royal Navy for our independence. We sent ships and Marines to the shores of Tripoli to ensure safe passage of our vessels during the Barbary Wars. We saw victory at sea during the War of 1812. And during 2 world wars, we provide vital support to the wars in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Today, our Navy remains forward deployed and ever ready to engage. We are defending people from Houthi attacks in the Red Sea and keeping those vital shipping lanes open for commerce. This is what we have done with pride and dedication for the past 249 years, and is what we will continue to do in the future. The future of our Navy is promising. Why? Our technology works. How many Navy ships have been hit by Houthi missiles? 0. This is because our sailors are highly trained and remain ready for a fight or emergency response. Our equipment would not work and our ships would not sail. Our aircraft would not fly without these capable and dedicated sailors. We are building better ships and equipment every single day and seeking new practical ways to build ready, resilient, and contemporary force that starts at its heart, our service members. You have nothing more to do than look right behind you at our Navy's newest ship. If you want to see what's defending the southern end of the Red Sea or the skies over Israel today, it is a ship just like that. We like them so much, we built 72 of them, and we're continuing to build them. The rules-based international order relies heavily on our Navy's presence in maritime commerce being available for international free trade. This has lifted billions of people out of poverty over years and will continue to do so while we are deployed defending freedom with our allies and partners. All of you today are wearing something that was made overseas that came to the United States in a shipping container. Think about that. Your Navy enables us to be able to do that. Throughout history, our Navy got better because we continue to evolve and embrace progress and diversity. The opportunities for our sailors are unlimited. When I joined the service, women could not serve on combatant ships. When somebody told me if I was an ensign that before I retired, I would have a female chief of naval operations, I would not have believed them. But today it's awe-inspiring how every person can serve in the Navy. There's no more glass ceiling for women in the Navy. The head of the Navy is a woman. Think about that. We have a tremendous history that we're leveraging to bring forth a bright future every day across the globe. The sacrifices and unwavering commitment of our military, past and present, should never be forgotten. Every veteran who donned our nation's cloth with pride shares a united dedication to safeguarding America. Because of this service, our country can continue to grow and prosper. Our past is tremendously inspired by our veterans, and our future is extremely bright. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Admiral. Really very, very tremendous, special. Veterans Day is set aside to salute our veterans from every branch of the military and honor their service, their commitment, and patriotism. However, we'd be remiss if we did not also remember those who've made the supreme sacrifice for our country. So today, we will lay a memorial wreath on the waters of the Hudson River to honor all those who selflessly have given their lives to protect our freedom. So at this time, I do ask if you can, and Bruce, Commissioner Hendon, Admiral Latte, if you'll join us in the wreath-laying ceremony. The wreath will be presented by former crew member Al Schumacher, and representing the Growler former crew members, Bill Peters. Richmond County Pipes and Drums, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And while we are celebrating you and thanking you for your service in protecting our freedoms, please know that we do that every single day. We are so incredibly grateful. Thank you again for being here. God bless you. God bless Intrepid. God bless America.